All right, good morning, evening, afternoon, and nighttime, honey, whatever time it is, wherever you are, child. Hey, y'all. All right, today is a very interesting day today because, I normally do just all this great, delicious celebrity gossip. Well, today, I'm going to probably have some gossip, honey, later on, honey. It depends on if time permits. But I'm gonna be having a guest. I'm gonna have a guest on the day that's gonna help you all out because it's income tax time, honey, and everybody, honey, need to know how to spend their coins, honey, because I'm definitely gonna need this show today because, child, I don't know how to spend my money, and honey, my doggone I don't know when my SSI check gonna come in or anything like that. So I gotta definitely listen to what this young man had to talk about because, honey, hey, whenever it comes in, baby, I need to know what I need to do with it. Do I need to save it? Do I need to spend it? Or do I need to donate it? But whatever the situation is gonna be, we're gonna find out today about some finances. So without further ado, y'all, I want your hands together, honey. Put your hands together, clap, y'all. Put it together for my friend, Mr. Michael Jaco. Now he's the senior marketing director, licensed financial professional, y'all. And I tell you, he's gonna tell us a lot about some money or how we're gonna spend some money, what we're gonna do with money. Is that right, Michael?
Absolutely, absolutely. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing fine. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And I'm so glad we finally got you on because, Lord, it took a long time. I was wondering, Lord, if this was going to be a show for next year or what. But you see how God works. He said, you got to be on today.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree, and I appreciate you guys for having me on as well. Thanks.
Exactly. So, Mike, okay, tell us. All right, finance. When people start talking about finances and financial planning and, and all this other stuff, people get nervous. We get nervous because we don't want to buy. You ain't gonna tell me how to spend my money, what to do with my money, and so on and so forth, and what have you. But now, with you being a financial professional, you know how people should spend their money, how should they invest their money, what they should do with their money, and so on and so forth. Correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. We talk about financial foundation, and a proper financial foundation begins with. It's like building a house, Gary. You have to start from
Mm-hmm.
the bottom on up. Nobody puts a roof on top of a home first. They go with the foundation, and the foundation we talk about a lot is protection. And what that means, you have to protect your ability to make income. And what that calls for life insurance, some type of protection on yourself. So if something happened to you, your family can still receive that money. And then also debt management. I tell people all the time, Gary, with the T, if you're earning 50,000, stop trying to live on 60. Stop trying to impress your neighbors who you
Oh,
don't even care about. How you like that?
exactly. We definitely do that. It's funny you said this because we were talking today about Black China. Black China did an interview recently, and the guy was asking her, "Well, how much money you have?" She in the bank. She said $3,000. Now she was keeping it very real. She said she had $3,000 in the bank. They said, "Well, do you own a home?" She said she has owned a home. Her house was $3.8 million. Now, mind her home is in California. $3.8 million, but probably a two-bedroom house or whatever. But nevertheless, it's funny that you said that how we have money, but do we? I mean, should you say? I know Oprah has said once that you're supposed to pay yourself first.
Absolutely,
Now,
absolutely. We agree on that as well. You definitely pay yourself first, but what the mindset is, you get a paycheck and then you start paying your bills, and then you end up with a few coins left, and you say, I might as well go to Papados.
exactly. So I mean, so how much money? I mean, should you save everything, to Michael? How much money should? Okay, say, but give me a ballpark. Say, for instance, you make about 50,000 a year, and we know 50,000 a year is not really much, but it's a lot, somewhere to some people, whatever. How much money should a person save? I mean, should you? How much should you save out of
The
50,000?
the minimum would be 10%, but I encourage people to go a little bit higher to maybe 20% and save about 10,000 of that 50,000 if you can. But then before we start trying to necessarily save, we have to create an emergency fund. And in building that house I was speaking of earlier, Gary, is protection, debt management, and an emergency fund. And what that emergency fund is not a Macy's fund. Okay, it's for when
Mhm.
you get a blowout, you need to repair your vehicle, you need to have an appliance go out, you need to repair that as well. And where I'm located in Southeast Texas is that if you have a hurricane that come in, you need to
Oh,
have some money to go get to so you can relocate your family during the storm. And then last but not least, investment. So when you're talking about saving, the general cause is like 10%, but I encourage about 20%.
yeah. Well, that's and that sounds good and what have you and stuff. But I know a lot of people. I know we don't really do that because one of the things that really I'm concerned about Michael, and you could probably help me out with it because we from the same hometown or whatever,
Mhm.
and but we didn't learn much about finances growing up. They didn't teach us well. In my family, I mean, I knew to save, but that wasn't something that was just pounded in your head. To save your money, to do this and do that and stuff. So, what you think about this new generation and what have you and stuff that they make more money than our parents would have ever made and stuff,
Mhm.
but they're not so much really saving it because I know with me, I save. It took me a while to get to that point, but now that I save. But on the flip side of it, I save, but then I say this might go, well, hell, this is just me. If I drop damn dead today, honey, somebody gonna spend my money and do what they want to do because you do know dead money is the first quick money to go. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, our grandparents taught us to don't put all your eggs in one basket.
exactly.
And what that means today is diversification. You want to be able to diversify your money. So you know what I mean? So if you have one sector of your money that fails, maybe the other sector will do better. But what the kids are doing today, Gary, is they're looking for instant gratification. And I tell people all
Exactly.
the time that there's no such thing as instant gratification. How many people are going to hit the lottery and so forth? But what we have to do is we have to plant a seed, we have to cultivate the field, and then expect a harvest. Okay. But a lot of times people want it just instantaneously. They have what we call a microwave mentality. Because when you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about money, and I didn't know this either because they were not teaching this in high school, nor did I learn this in college. But what I've learned here with World Financial Group and the company that I'm with is something called the wealth formula. I was
I was
52
just gonna
years
ask you
old.
about that.
Yes, the wealth formula. I was 52 years old before I understood that they had a wealth formula to build wealth. And what that formula consists of is money plus time. I tell people some people have a lot of money, some people have a lot of time. If you don't have a lot of money, you better have a lot of time. Okay. And then plus or minus where you put your money to grow minus inflation minus taxes equals wealth. So that's the formula: money, time, where to put your money, minus inflation minus taxes equals wealth. And it's just like baking a cake. And a lot of people know how to bake a cake. And I tell people all the time, if you like sugar in your cake, you might like sugar in your cornbread. Okay, so but whatever the formula is and whatever the recipe is, we have a formula to build wealth, and that's the formula.
Well, more people. I mean, and when you say wealth, when I think of wealth, I think of rich people. So I'm sure there's a different. The formula of wealth is different than just saying a rich person or what have you.
Yes, yes, absolutely. A lot of times, a lot of us was not, uh, we are not celebrities like yourself, Gary, with the T. Okay,
Please.
we were not born in wealth. However, we can transfer wealth through death.
Exactly.
And so, for a lot of people, don't realize that if you were not born in wealth, you can transfer wealth through death. But a lot of times we don't. We transfer poverty, and we need to get better with that. Okay. But if you're utilizing the wealth formula, it matters where you put your money and how early you start. A person like
Mm-hmm.
myself at age 60 years old, I don't have a lot of time. So I better have a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. So if you don't have a lot of money, though, Mike, I mean, so what about because on that thought, we may say, well, I got my Social Security coming, I got my my pension. So I mean, would that count? Not count?
Absolutely, absolutely. Social Security is something that a lot of people rely on, but that shouldn't be the only form of income. Okay. And what we teach people is financial education to where it's not going to be about Social Security all the time. It's going to be about self security. We need to get out there and increase our personal savings. And then you mentioned about a pension. Those pensions are becoming a dinosaur. Most companies are not even offering pensions these days. So we have to depend on what? Ourselves. And I go back to Michael Jackson when he made the song "The Man in the Mirror." Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
all begins with us, the person in the mirror.
Yeah. So now talk about the rule of 72. So what is that? Is that like when you turn 72 years old, you're gonna be ruled, or what's the rule of 72?
The rule of 72 is an Albert Einstein concept. Okay, so that's how far it goes back. Okay, where you take 72, Gary, divided
Mm,
by how much interest you're earning on your money. That's how long it takes your money to double. Most people
mm,
put their money in a bank account. Bank account gives you less than 1%. But let's say we found a bank account that gave us 1%. 72 divided by 1 is what? 72. How many 72 years we have? Maybe one.
Nah.
Okay. So what we tell people is that you want to make sure that you put your money where it's working for you as interest. The rule of 72 is all about compounded interest. But the way most communities utilize the rule of 72 adversely by going to a payday loan place, borrowing $500, paying back 2,000. So we have to learn how to make interest work better for us. I tell people all the time that what I learned is that if you understand interest, it will pay you. If you don't, you will pay it. So we
Mm.
need to understand the power and the rule of compounded interest, the rule of 72.
So tell me this, Michael. So what are some of the common financial mistakes that young adults make, and how can they avoid them?
That's a very good question, Gary. Some of the common mistakes that people make is not saving. They live for today. Okay, they don't live for retirement. And what we try to educate people is to put some money aside because one day you're going to be in a place to retire and you want to be able to live off your money. There are three phases of money. We have an accumulation phase where we're accumulating. Then there's
Mm.
a phase to where we need our money to work for us. And then last but not least, to be able to live off our money. But the millennials today and the Gen X's and so forth, they are just blow and go is the word they use, blow and go. But what we
Blow
have to
it.
do is we have to change our mindset and become savers and not just spenders.
Mm. So tell me this, Michael. What are the main financial concepts and strategy that you cover in your book?
Okay, that's a very good question. We talk to people about, uh, like you mentioned earlier, the rule of 72, but we also talk to people about there's only three places in the United States, and you mentioned taxes earlier. There's only three places in the United States that you can put your money. One is in a tax now bucket, a tax
Mm.
later bucket, and a tax advantage bucket. And those buckets vary. A tax now bucket is like the checking account, the savings account, stocks. The tax later account are like your 401ks, 403bs, 457, and annuities and stuff like that, and pensions. But the tax advantage accounts are Roth IRA, a 529 college saving plan, municipal bonds, health savings account, and long-term care, and
Mm.
also life insurance. And sometimes when you talk about life insurance as an investment, some people don't understand because nobody ever taught them. Life insurance is one of the best vehicles out there that you can grow your money and don't have to pay taxes on the gains.
So tell me
Ooh-wee.
this, Michael. You remember back in the day, they had life insurance. I think it was life insurance where you could borrow money off of your policy. Does that still exist?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Gary. It's called cash value life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Cash value life insurance.
Well,
And go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's a vehicle that you can use to where you can grow money, okay, as well as have some other perks that go with that. We call them riders. And to be able to utilize the cash value that it grew, okay, over the years for a partial retirement and so forth. It supplements retirement as well.
Well, my thing, I ain't trying to let no damn body get no life and policy on me, being kill my ass and collecting the money. So that's the first thing I'll be thinking about, honey. Bitch, you don't put no policy on me. 'Cause, people
That's
will knock you off able to get that
the,
policy.
that is the
But
mindset that a lot of people have. And so,
exactly.
yeah, and so did you think that because you get life insurance, proper protection for yourself, then that means that you're expected to die? No, it's not. It's just that we have to get away from what they call GoFundMe these days.
We
GoFundMe is
sure
not a
do.
solution, right? People using the GoFundMe. What you think? What you think about that, Gary?
It pisses me off because let me tell you something what bothers me, honey. First of all, your auntie, honey, that died, honey, I don't think I should have to bury her. You should bury her, damn, but you're doing a damn GoFundMe to do all that stuff, honey. That's ridiculous. I think, I know to each his own and stuff, but one thing, let me tell you something. I don't know if you talk about this or whatever, but I am ready. Whenever I die, honey, I'm complete. I done brought my pre-need. I got everything because my dad was a mortician, so we was set up with on that. So you ain't gonna do no damn GoFundMe to bury me. It's already taken care of. So
Absolutely, but that's a lot of people mindset. I tell people just like you do, Gary, is that I'm not selling no fish dinners. I ain't buying no t-shirts.
no,
None of that. I'm not going to
and
Lucky's. You know Lucky's, and everybody do the fish dinners. We ain't doing
since you said that, I didn't want to go there, honey. You know that's what we do in Port Arthur, honey. So
that.
tell me this,
Absolutely.
so Michael. So what advice do you have for young adults starting to invest for the first time?
Well, I'd like for them to, first of all, I'm real big on financial education. I think that we need to go and learn for ourselves. We have a program where we share complimentary, Gary, where people can join our classes, our financial workshops, and learn about debt management. Okay, learn about proper protection, learn about asset accumulations, and so forth. Your health is your wealth. I tell people you don't want to be the wealthiest person in the cemetery, and also being able to fulfill long term goals. So we have a platform to where we help educate people. I believe that you need to be educated first because a fool and his money will surely depart. So if we educate the individual, then they have a real good chance of saving properly and then knowing what to do with your money. So my recommendation is education, financial education. Our company, World Financial Group, World System Builder, is on a campaign to educate 30 million families by 2030. And we are well over 2 million now, and we're utilizing the workshops to do that. Our mission is to build and protect wealth for families. We want to help people move from financial insecurity to financial independence. Okay. And that's what my number one thing would be is to go get the education. My link going to be shown later. I want you guys to get with me, schedule a time where I can show you how to get those complimentary financial workshops so you can first learn. We were taught, Gary, is to put the horse before the wagon. Okay, a lot of people just jump on the wagon and let it take you
Yeah.
wherever they want to take you. But we need to be educated. We need to learn how to become our own money managers and stop letting people tell us what to do with our money. So
So tell me
education.
this, Michael, why do you think we so scared to talk about finances? I mean,
Be-
nobody
yeah,
want to talk about it.
because people are embarrassed. Just the truth of the matter, people are embarrassed. When you start talking about finances, people get quiet. Why? Because their financial house is not in order. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay because nobody taught us. The little education we received from our parents, but now there's a lot more. So people don't want to talk about their finances because there a lot of people finances are not in order. And then those whose finances are in order, they don't want you to know because the next thing you might ask them is, hey Gary, let me borrow that vehicle you left down here for
Exactly, exactly, and being wreck my shit, honey. Then I ain't got no money, no driving. So,
yeah.
so what about the dime situation? What's that?
Yes, yes, we educate people on the dime method. They call it the dime method, Gary. And what that is how you determine how much proper protection you need. And I didn't even know this information. I was 52 before I got this information, and I'm glad I went to those complimentary classes. And now I'm able to not only learn for myself, but to help others. But what the dime method is, D stands for debt, how much debt you have. I stands for your income, your annual income. M stands for your mortgage balance and E stands for the number of children, education, number of children that you have to send to college. So let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say that a client walked in with $50,000 worth of debt and so forth. His income was 36,000 a year. We multiply that by 10, and that's where 360,000 comes from. His balance on his home was 200,000, and to send
Mhm.
two kids to college was about 60,000 a piece, 120,000, and that's on the low end. But whatever that number is, and so forth, that's the amount of proper protection. You can do this right now. Take a pen out. How much debt you have? What's your income multiplied by 10 annually? And then what's your balance of your mortgage? And then how many kids you need to send to college? 60,000 per kid. And whatever that number is, Gary, that's how much
Mhm.
proper protection you need. Because if something happened to you, your family still need to live off your income for the next 10 years. And then there's another formula that we talk about is the 10-20 rule. And you can be as easy with the 10-20 formula where it talks about 10 times your income for life insurance protection and 20 times your income for retirement. So Utilize those numbers for yourself and look forward to seeing you in our workshops and learning for yourself. Those workshops are complimentary, and the dime
Mhm.
method helps you understand what type of proper protection you need.
Okay, so like I said earlier at the introduction, it's income tax time. So you think we should take our income tax and just spend it and buy what we want? Like I've always wanted to buy a new bicycle. Should I just go out and buy me a bicycle, or should I learn, especially for parents with their kids, to how to invest some of it? What you think about that?
That's a great question. When I first started getting this information, Gary, I was with one of my CEO partners, and he was telling me how much he paid in income tax. And I said, man, that's a lot. He said, don't feel sorry for me because if I'm paying that much, guess how much I made? So the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of us wait for income tax time to receive the money that was already ours. Okay, all the
Mm-hmm.
federal government did was hold our money and gave it right back to us with no interest. Okay, and we know a lot of people that do that. They talk that noise, Gary. Oh, I'm getting 3,000. I'm getting 5,000
Mm-hmm.
back. I can't wait for my income tax. All the
Mm-hmm.
government did was held your money, okay, and gave it right back to you. So, but when you get that money, my personal recommendation would be we need to save it. We need to save
Yeah.
it. We need to create an emergency fund. And I tell people when you're trying to create an emergency fund, you should have 3 to 6 months, Gary, of your monthly income for an emergency. But because of COVID, we stretched that out to 6 to 12 months and so forth in emergency funds. So my point I'm trying to make, when you have an emergency fund, when you have an emergency fund, what happens is you're a little bit less stressed. Okay, your back
Oh
is not
yes.
your back is not up against the wall. When you got
Oh
some money
yeah.
in the bank, you can walk with your chest out, you can and do it all. But when you don't have an emergency fund, you can barely breathe. So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I
You do.
suggest you do.
You
Mhm.
do move differently and stuff, honey, because it's always nice to have a little extra money. Because trust me, I'm a living witness, honey. I'm like, okay, it's good to go in the store, honey, and don't have to flinch. If I want to buy something, I could buy it, honey. So that's definitely good, But when you ain't got no money, you don't have no money. So that's the
Absolutely,
sad thing.
absolutely, and that's what I think that I would recommend and so forth. Let's start to become savers. A friend of mine, and I know you know him, Coach Gabriel. He told me a long time ago. He said, "Habits once formed are as dynamic as an instinct." So we have to
Mm.
recreate and form a habit of saving rather than of spending.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, I've been saving hell since the sixth grade. I'll never forget it. It's just like this when we went on a field trip when I was going to Franklin in elementary school. We went on a field trip to Republic of Texas, which was on Proctor Street, and we needed $5 to open up an account. And I just remember like yesterday when I think about it, it would bring tears to my eyes. Cause I asked my dad, say, "Daddy, can you give me $5 to open up my bank account?" And my daddy gave me my $5, honey. I opened up my bank account, and I have been saving ever since. So,
Wow.
I do believe I know about saving and I know that you gotta have, your coins and stuff. So, but one of my final stories of my headphones keep coming off, though, Juice. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they don't want me to hear you or something. But this question, so what are some of your future plans for promoting financial literacy among young adults?
I'm glad you asked that. What we're doing, we're trying to get in the schools, in the high school, seniors that are
Y'all
getting
need to.
yes, seniors that are getting ready to graduate. We want to put a program together to help them be prepared financially when they go out because the first thing that they realize is they go out and some people have to go to college on student loans and so forth. And what we want to teach them how not to do that. Okay, we have a college planning program, Gary, a college
Mm-hmm.
planning program where we show kids as early as the 8th grade how to get access to scholarship money. Yes, yes, and so forth. And if your audience reaches out for my information, and I can show them how to do that as early as the 8th grade, how to get access to scholarship money. And that money that I'm talking about is endowment money. There's universities all over the United States that have endowment money that they're just waiting to give to a kid, but a lot of times we don't know how to go get it. And so we have
Exactly.
yes, and then a lot of times in some communities and so forth, some kids' credit get messed up before they leave the house. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even get a chance to mess up their credit because somebody in the family already did. So what we want to
Yeah.
encourage people is to pay your bills on time. Okay, because that credit score, you might not feel it when you're 18, 19 years old, but when you're 21, 25 years old and you're going out to get your first home or a vehicle, then it's going to come back to bite you. So we encourage people to become savers. And I want to throw this in just before we get off is people also need to focus on two more things, Gary. One is
What?
long-term care.
Oh yeah,
Long-term care. And what
that's one
that
of my
is,
fears.
yes, and what they say is 7 out of 10 seniors will need long-term care in their lifetime. That's 7 out of 10 people. But what happens is we don't put that in place, and our long-term care solution becomes our children.
Eggs, isn't that something? You got to live at home, honey, with mama, or mama got to live with you. You got to take care of mama and go to work, honey, and that could be very stressful. And that
Yes,
really brings a
absolutely.
lot of major problems. You know, my mama had sat with this lady before, and
Hmm.
I always said that lady was the luckiest lady in the world because her family was very wealthy, number one. And honey, if that woman, she was kind of a little demented, so she kind of was losing
Hmm.
her mind. But I said if she came to her mind, just her senses, just one time, and looked around, she would have still known her. She was in her damn house. She wasn't in no nursing home somewhere where somebody was beating her up and not taking care of her and stuff like that. But
Right.
yes, that is definitely a thing, the long term
Yes,
care thing.
exactly. Because we end up messing up our children's lives by not letting taking care of our lives properly. And so long term care is
Exactly.
very important and we need to consider it and we need to look at putting something in place for that because if it's not their children, then it's your retirement money. And long term care and medical and sitting sitters and going to a adult home facility, it costs and so forth. And a lot of people go through bankruptcy because of
Yep.
it.
Exactly. That
And
was
then
really good.
right, and then the other thing I wanted to throw out there before we get off is estate planning. Estate planning. The difference between a will and a trust. Okay, and you want to make sure that you have that in place. And you know, some of our celebrities just passed on just recently and didn't have those things in place. So
Didn't even have a will.
didn't even have a will. And we need to help people in that area so they can transfer their estate, okay, to the people who they want to transfer it to, and not let it be ate up because of probate taxes.
Mhm.
Okay,
Now the
and
trust, break that down, Michael, because I
uh,
know the difference, but I need you to recollect my memory. Not the will, because I have a will, but I know
mhm,
the trust is I, it's a little different. It's more
absolutely.
technical.
Absolutely, a will and so forth is a good thing to have. However, you will pay some probate taxes. You have to get a lawyer, and then you have to pay some court costs to get names changed on your assets. Now, but a trust acts like a storage building like what we store
Mm-hmm.
furniture in. It's a storage building to where now we're storing your assets in and so forth. And then you assign a trustee, which can be your children and so forth, or a mature adult, somebody that understands what you want to see happen. There's a revocable trust and there's an irrevocable. You want to start off with a revocable, and so that way, that way you're able to make changes while you're still here and then once you pass on, it becomes irrevocable. Nobody can change what's in the trust. A trust acts as though you're still alive, Gary. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that your money is that you said what you want to do in 2023 will do the same thing in 2093. Okay, and they can't change it. And a trust, you don't have those probate fees. So I encourage anybody who has a home to look at a trust because if the will has it, you have to pay to change the name over. In a trust, you do not. A trust is a whole lot better than a will. Okay? So,
Really?
yes.
Even though you should have at least one of them, if not both, because we don't have no wheels, honey. A lot of us, and baby, everybody be fighting over mama house, and the house ain't worth nothing but $3,000. But everybody want to fight over that little raggedy house, honey, and it just be a big old mess. So, but
And
yeah,
yeah,
that's a
you're
good
absolutely right.
thing.
Yeah, so yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of times people they can't transfer wealth. So what they do, they give you the family house.
Mm-hmm. And then you got 10 damn children and everybody want to live in it. Oh, we want to sell it.
Yeah,
Why you want to sell it then? House ain't nothing but $3,000 here, and now it's a big mess. But anyway, Michael,
absolutely. Yeah.
I thank you so much for stopping by. This was very much knowledgeable, honey. I really, really Appreciate this. And I definitely want to let you know, tell us how people could reach you and all the other stuff. We're going to put it on the screen as well. But how can people reach you?
I can be reached. My email is mwjaco.wsb@gmail.com. That's my email address. And you can call me at my office phone, 409-728-8151. And I'm able to help people all across the United States, and especially with virtual. And so for everybody goes virtual now, and I'm able to help as many people as I can via virtual.
Well, we sure appreciate it. Now, don't leave yet because we're about to turn off, but don't leave. Once we get off, we need
I
you,
was I was
producers need to do
I was
something with
kind of
you.
prepared to do some Oscar gossip with you too.
Oh, well,
We have to
I
catch up
could.
another time.
Okay, I could. Let me see what is going on. So I mean, so okay, now tell me. Okay, so you said you watched the Grammys and all that stuff, and you're familiar with some of the stuff that's going on with the celebrities. Now, one of
Right.
the things that's going on, and this is near you, Jay Prince. Are you familiar with Jay Prince? Now he's the guy. He's a big music executive in Houston,
In Houston,
and
right.
and a lot of people say, I mean, it seemed like he was kind of allegedly threatening one of the amigos because they saying that his son was one of the cause of the Migo being shot or whatever. But it's just about being a big crazy thing though. But I, I'm scared of these rappers. They make me nervous, honey. They really make me nervous. So
Yeah.
I'm just it's just something. But nevertheless, I know it's something more that you might be familiar with. Okay, now what's his name? Making the big his what's his name? What's that basketball player name? Who
Oh,
just
LeBron James.
made the LeBron James. So what do you
LeBron
think
James.
about that situation? Because people were wondering, people asking the question: is LeBron James the GOAT or what?
LeBron James is one of the goats. Okay, because depending on what era you was raised in, that's your goat.
Mhm.
I'm 60 years old. In my area, in my arena, it was Michael Jordan. Okay, he's the
And that's
GOAT.
what people
So
said.
exactly, Michael Jordan is the GOAT as far as I'm concerned. But LeBron is no
Yeah, but
slouch.
exactly. And they said LeBron, I guess he had more points or whatever, but they said Michael Jordan had 6 rings, or however many rings he
Absolutely,
had. So
absolutely.
they said, so that still made him the GOAT. So, but nevertheless, I guess, I mean, I don't follow sports like that, but I know a little bit about something about it. But I think it's a good thing. I like LeBron James because I love him because seems to love his wife Savannah,
Absolutely.
and I really love that about him and stuff or what have you. But
Mhm.
it's very interesting though. It's very interesting. Let me see if I can find some more mess.
What you think about
Since
the tribute that they had for hip hop on the Grammys?
It was really nice, Michael, but people pissed. You can't have everybody on it. Like they said, you can't have everybody on it. Because, it was a lot of people that wasn't on there. Because half of the South, like they saying, the South here in Atlanta, whatever, they were saying half of those guys, Outcast, one of the people, people were saying that they weren't showcased and some of
Hmm.
these other rappers. But I said maybe they were scared they didn't want no fighting to happen. I don't know.
I know they was screening the guests, the performers.
Yes, Lord. So it was
Hmm.
definitely interesting though. So, but it's all good though. I today I kind of like talked about what's his name Life Jennings. Now tell me about now this and talking about money since you're a financial guy. Now
Go
Life
ahead.
Jennings said somebody stole $120,000 out of his car in his backpack. Who does that? Is it rich people that does that?
No, it's
Or what?
I, I think that was pretty foolish for him to even have $120,000 in the backpack in his backseat of his vehicle. But maybe he might be able to write it off. Gary, you never know.
Can you write it off? I mean, I wonder if it was stolen
Well, all he
like
had to
that.
do
I
is,
guess.
yeah. I mean, he making check into it. I'm not sure on how that happens, but I wouldn't, for instance, be carrying no $120,000 in my backseat. Okay, so
No.
the last time I heard people doing that, they was driving from Houston to Atlanta. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know to have that kind of money anyway. Your ass. But anyway, all right. Well, Michael, thank you so much again for stopping by. You really impressed me, and I'm definitely gonna start being more cognizant with my finances because I just I don't spend my money just um crazy or whatever, but I do believe in let me spend my money because like I said, it's just me. And honey, if something was happening to me, honey, I needs to be happy. So at least for the time being.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I like to say before I get off is that change happens one choice at a time.
All right. So it's so profound. Change happens one choice at a time. Okay. Well,
Hmm. Yes. So thank you very
change.
much. I appreciate you having me, Gary, with the T.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. So you hold on there. All right, then. All right, y'all. That was Mr. Michael Jaco, financial planner. I mean, honey, if you didn't learn something today, something is wrong with you because, like I said, income tax time is around the corner, and we definitely want you to, honey, invest and save your money wisely and do the right thing because, honey, you just never know when you're gonna need that extra dollar, and you just spent it on a hamburger. Well, thanks again, honey. Remember, if you like what you just saw, click here. And if you don't like what you saw, click here anyway, because you are definitely loved.